I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational, but that just wouldn't be our style.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
SportsTownChicago.com. Lombard, part of the P On Air network and available on the TuneIn app.
Hell yeah.
Broadcast home for your Windy City Bulls and the Chicago Dogs. We're in a league of our own. Now, here's your SportsTownChicago.com scoreboard update.
At 5 o'clock on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024, I am your host, Mike Napolitano, with your SportsTownChicago.com update powered by the Illinois Media School. If you are interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com. Well, there are no live games going on in Chicago tonight. The Blackhawks and Bulls played last night. So let's check the standings for today's most recent news. You have the Bulls, who have played 21 games thus far. They are 9-13. Sorry, 22. I can't math right now. And through those games, they are at a .409 record. They are 9.5 games back of the Eastern Conference leading Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 18-3. The Bulls are sitting in ninth, so if the season were to end today, they would make the play-in rounds. In their last 10 games, the Bulls are 4-6, and they are coming off of a win last night. That game was against the Brooklyn Nets. The Blackhawks, they are also towards the bottom of the standings. They've played 25 games. They are 8-15-2 with 18 points on the season. They are on a 3-game losing streak over this past holiday weekend. Not so good. Also, that 18 points, yeah, that is worst in the league of 32 teams. And no surprise, the Chicago Bears are also sitting in last place, 4-8 on the season. And we're going to break down all the chaos. But this has been your SportsTownChicago.com update brought to you by the Illinois Media School. If you're interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com.
Here to center for Taves. He got a breakaway. Taves to win the game. Hawks win. Hawks win. Jonathan Taves.
It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors. Mark Burley has a perfect game going to the ninth. Oh, trying to get open, fires away. Fire! It's over. The Bulls win at the buzzer. Wise makes the kick. What a play by Wise. Mercy. He goes. One to go. Keeps a key. 2-on-1. Hudson back to point. Upper shot. In overtime. Open. Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat. Alexei. Yes. 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 Yes! History! It's in the net, they score! It's in! They score! The Hawks win the Stanley Cup! The Hawks win the Stanley Cup! A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! Out! A White Sox winner and a world championship! The White Sox have won the World Series and they're mobbing each other on the field! Binnington, Kurashev plays the rebound for Bedard down low. Bedard! Lacrosse style scores! Unbelievable! Connor Bedard! Dude, that was insane.
Oh, I hate it here. I really do. I really, really do. I wish that, the Blackhawks or the Bulls or the Bears or any Chicago team could be a winning team. Oh, I'm going to have to move out of this town. This is atrocious. Just a reminder, you can follow me on X, Instagram, and Snapchat. That's Mike Napolitano on X, Mike_Napolitano on Instagram, and Mike Napolitano5 on Snapchat. On those platforms, X and Instagram, you can follow SportsTownChicago.com and the Illinois Media School. But you should be hitting the unfollow button on Matt Eberflus. The Bears organization did 23-20 on Turkey Day. The Bears fall to the Lions, and the final drive for the Bears is just unbelievable. Unbelievable how bad it can get. I've never seen a game in the NFL mismanaged that poorly. It is not just pain and purgatory to be a Bears fan or a Chicago sports fan, as I mentioned in that intro. It is worse than that. I don't know if there is a word that I could say on radio that truly describes what it is like to be a Bears fan. I mean, if it would be one thing if the Bears were blown out every week and there was zero expectations, because there always are zero expectations going into the game. And halfway through this game on Thanksgiving, it was 16-0 Lions. 16-0 at halftime. If you're the Bears, chalk it up, game over. Let's just go eat some turkey and stuffing, right? Instead, the Bears decide to come back. What? Oh my. I mean, give your fans hope just to rip it out of their chests. Why don't you? The Bears were 0-4 on the road going into this game. And on a 5-game losing streak, yeah, just five in a row. That was Washington, Arizona, New England, Green Bay, and Minnesota. Do I have to rehash those? Do we have to revisit history that is probably already ingrained into your minds as Bears fans? I mean, we're talking a brutal Hail Mary catch at the end of the game on October 20th. Washington. Game which season 9 points against Arizona, a 500 team. Meanwhile, you give up 29. You only score 3 points, a field goal against a 2-7 New England team. And why don't you give up 19 to them as well while you're at it? Heartbreaking fashion against your quote-unquote rivals, Green Bay. Green Bay owns the Bears. There's not even a rivalry to be had here. 11 straight wins in head-to-head games for the Packers. And then you work so hard to get back into that Minnesota game, which was the first game we talked about it last week, that the Bears have had a lead in the first quarter. It was week 12. Week 12, and they hadn't started a game on time. In fact, they didn't play the middle of that game either, so in classic current Bears fashion, they had to come back as best they could in that fourth quarter to take it to overtime. And then they lost. And then they let Minnesota kick the game-winning field goal in overtime. You let him march right down the field. We talked about how the Bears defense was their strong suit at the start of the season. Now, here we are. Technically, this is week 14. We're going to get back to week 13 in a second because that was a debacle for the Bears. But week 12, and I don't think you can say anything is the Bears' strong suit this year. The defense has been inconsistent. The offense has only shown up at certain times when their backs are against the wall and then still fell short in practically every instance. We talked about the Bears parting ways with offensive coordinator Shane Waldron and hiring Thomas Brown to be the quote-unquote interim offensive coordinator. Well, it is about to get even worse on the roller coaster ride for Thomas Brown. And that is because in the final play against Detroit, with the Bears only down 3 points, 23-20. Mind you, the Bears were in field goal range. A face mask penalty took them out of field goal range because it was a 20-yard penalty. And then what does Caleb Williams do? Time and time again in the fourth quarter on a crucial drive? Well, he doesn't get rid of the ball. I understand it's inexperience, but at this point, that can't happen anymore. I do think Caleb Williams is talented. There's always a but when it comes to Caleb Williams here. He is still too inexperienced in that quarterback position. He had all the time in the world. We recapped it against Minnesota. There was a play that lasted 20 seconds and he still got sacked. You need to get rid of the ball. He doesn't against Detroit. Not only were the Bears already out of field goal range to begin with there, but then you're down. You have one fewer down to get the ball back into field goal range, and you have less time on the clock. Oh, speaking of time on the clock, let's take a look at the final play in which the Bears had one more timeout that they could have used. Specifically, Matt Eberflus could have used in order to save this Bears atrocity. But what did they elect to do? Run a play and let the clock wind down to 0, making that play your last-ditch effort to score. Not even a chance for a kick then. And, I mean, you're basically going for the Hail Mary at that point. Have a listen to the Thanksgiving Day CBS broadcast of the Bears flop on the final drive.
Well, this is supposed to be a quarterback draw. They have a light box.
Clock is running with 15 seconds, and it's 3rd and 26. And one timeout left.
This is like the light box. You could have gotten numbers, but just didn't.
You better hurry.
Oh, no.
No, this is
no.
disaster in the making here. You're going to have to do something when it comes down to this play. Incomplete, and the game is over. Completely botched at the end by the Bears.
I can't believe they didn't take a timeout.
I can't believe they didn't even take a timeout, said broadcaster. I believe that was Troy Aikman on the call there. The entire rest of Chicago, Bears fans, anybody who knows anything about football was in that same boat. Debacle is too nice of a word for what just happened there. That cannot happen at the NFL level. The weirdest thing then is Friday, on Black Friday, Matt Eberflus was let go. Now that's not weird. It was a long time coming at this point. You had to wait till week 13 to get that done, but the writing was on the wall before that. This Bears team waited almost 11 months to do that, what needed to be done. But the weird thing is you let Matt Eberflus get on a Zoom call and talk about how, yeah, he is pretty certain about how he still has a job. And of course, I'm paraphrasing here, but just looking forward to San Francisco next week. Not even 45 minutes after that Zoom call, Matt Eberflus was fired by the Bears organization. Why would you even let him step up to that Zoom call in the first place? There's a lot of people being hung out to dry here. Now, Matt Eberflus let his team, and as it was, not to mention all of the poor offensive plays run before that. Now, that could be pinned on the offensive coordinator, not so much Eberflus, but he had a lot of influence last year. He still is the head coach of this team. And with the amount of times Caleb Williams was getting sacked, partly that's on Caleb, as we talked about. He's not getting rid of the ball fast enough, but it's also on Matt Eberflus. This offense is a disaster. This team is a disaster. But who is the bad guy here? I mean, sure, Eberflus, I think towards the end, had no clue what to do on the sidelines. However, was this retaliatory against an organization that has, I don't know, maybe they've disrespected him behind closed doors? I mean, this is all speculation. But you got to wonder, how did it get this bad without something being deliberate? I refuse to believe that this Bears organization, whether it's the front office, the ownership, Matt Eberflus, the players out on the field, are that moronic. I mean, really, there's no other. This is just stupidity going on out on the field. This is not a professional football team. So I'm not saying that Eberflus is the right guy by any means, but just, play devil's advocate a little bit. Maybe it's this horrid Bears organization, this joke of a Bears organization that has been a joke for decades. I don't know. Maybe they're to blame, considering they are the common denominator throughout every single one of these coach firings. You had Mitchell Trubisky drafted, basically first overall, and in the first round, and you fired John Fox. Then you had Justin Fields a year later, I should add. Then you had Justin Fields drafted in the first round. You fire Matt Nagy a year later. Then you draft Caleb Williams first overall, and Matt Eberflus is fired basically a year later. What is going on? This is ineptitude by the Bears. The team president, that would be Kevin Warren, spoke out and said, quote, "We need to be better." Yeah, you do. I mean, that's it? That's all you got? Because I got a lot more for you. We can go on for this entire hour on this show and then some. There were also some quotes coming out of the locker room following the game. Bears all-pro cornerback Jalen Johnson said, quote, "There was frustration. There was words from myself that I expressed just from my frustration from losing. Part of what I said after the game was I've been losing for 5 years. I feel like a high-level player like myself, after a certain point, losing games, how we've been losing games, somebody has to express something. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and it went the way it went." I feel for him, He's been here in Chicago for how long and has not had a winning season? 5 years. Not a single winning season. And Matt Eberflus, he is 5-19 in one-score games, which is the worst in NFL history for a coach with at least 20 such games. Unbelievable, unacceptable, and frankly, I don't want to hear it. Neither does Cole Kmet. He said, quote, "You only want to hear it so much. Coach is going to say what he's going to say. At the end of the day, we all realize we want the results. We just haven't had the results. That falls upon everyone." Kyle Gordon, he didn't even want to speak. Kyle Gordon said, quote, "Next question, no comment," when he was asked about the underlying reason as to this ongoing losing streak. This is a lost locker room. So Thomas Brown, not only are you the interim offensive coordinator, you are the interim head coach. Congratulations on your dual promotion within a span of 2 to 3 weeks. This is unbelievable. if you wanted to know, the Bears' next game will be Sunday, December 8th. That's this coming Sunday at 3:25 p.m. in San Francisco. That game will be televised for all to see the Bears lose on Fox. You know, San Francisco, that team that almost won the Super Bowl last year, they came pretty close. But I have no doubt with the chaos that is the Chicago Bears, San Francisco, and 0-6 on the road this year. At least the Bulls won a game, I guess. Let's talk some basketball right here as we get into another NBA Cup Tuesday. Unfortunately, the Bulls are out of that NBA Cup, but there is still some bright spots, I think, with the Bulls right here on Mike on the Mic.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, dude, it's Tuesday. It's time for Mike on the Mic.
Woo-hoo!
Right here on Sportstown Chicago and Twitch.
Off tape!
This is your home for sports. SportsTownChicago.com.
Joe's Hot Dogs has been around since 1953, but I promise it's not old news. You don't have to like hot dogs to like Joe's on Plainfield Road in Joliet. Italian beef, hot dogs, shakes, and sides. My family's had a relationship with Joe's Hot Dogs for 3 generations. Golden fries with a tad bit of salt and the perfect amount of crunch come in a bag as big as your hand. And that's just small. For more on the menu, visit joeshotdogsjoliet.com, bringing that classic Chicago flavor to the suburbs. That's Joe's Hot Dogs across from CVS on Plainfield Road in Joliet.
At the football game, Jim shows the telltale signs of being wasted. He starts flexing for the camera. He refers to his muscles as gunboats. He screams, "How's this for a halftime show?" Jim streaks the field.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many to drive. But what if you've had just one too many to drive? Never underestimate just a few. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and Windy City News Radio.
The Illinois Center for Broadcasting is now the Illinois Media School. We've been an institution in the Chicagoland area now for 30 years. Because the broadcasting world is always changing, so are we. Not only are we teaching radio and television production, but now you can learn all aspects of the media industry, like web design. You can even specialize in TV or film, sports broadcasting, and even sales. No matter where you are in the Chicagoland area, we have a campus near you. The Illinois Media School. Be on TV, be on radio, beonair.com.
Maybe that was money. Tell me that wasn't money.
Yo, check us out. We are the go-to guys. I'm your boy Space.
I'm your boy MC.
Check us out every Thursday
from 4 to 5 p.m.
We spitting all facts, all sports, all day.
Yes, sir. Who else you gonna go to in the clutch?
Lillard, long-range three. It's good!
Keeping you up to date with all the latest sports news.
We are
the go-to guys.
Where else you gonna get all your sports news from?
You know,
SportsTownChicago.com.
St. Patrick's Day, the only day of the year that it's okay to not boo the Boston Celtics. I will show you mercy. SportsTownChicago.com.
What's up, sports fans? I'm Mike Napolitano, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic right here at SportsTownChicago.com and the TuneIn Radio app. Now back to the show. Well, the Bulls, they won a few NBA Cup games, which was more than they could say from last year when the in-season tournament was first brought into the league as a way to kind of boost viewership and ratings on these games that maybe don't mean as much. They're not going down the stretch. They're not the home openers, kind of the doldrums of the NBA season. The Bulls did win 2 games in the NBA Cup. We talked about the one that they won against the Atlanta Hawks. Well, then the Bulls went on last Tuesday, after we jumped off the mic, to defeat the Washington Wizards, who were 2-13 going into that game. They were 1-6 at home. Luckily enough, the Bulls had them in that same group and were able to play them as one of the round robin games. The Bulls won 127-108. Kobe White with 21 points in this game led the team. Nikola Vukovic had 11 defensive rebounds and one offensive one. Josh Giddey led the team again. Rebounds, all of them defensive, leading the way for the Wizards. And Kolobi with 5 assists, but not enough for this struggling Wizards team. Bulls improved to 8-11 and also 2-1 in the NBA Cup. Wednesday was a regular game. That was the Bulls taking on the Orlando Magic at 6 p.m. That was a 133-119 loss to a tough Magic team. They improved to 13-7. Bulls 8-12. So back and forth still for this Chicago team. Ayo Dosunmu led in points in this one with 21. Vukovic 11 rebounds again. Once again, 10 of them defensive. Zach LaVine popped up in the assist column with 10 to lead the way in the 31 minutes that he played. There's Jalen Suggs, who had 31 points and 7 assists, and as well as the 11 rebounds from Bitadze. That was from the Magic side of thing. So a 133-119. And Celtics, who were 15-3 coming into this one. So it was a tough. Tatum led in all 3 categories for the defending champs. He had 35 points, 14 rebounds, 13 of them were defensive, and 5 assists in his 36 minutes of play. He was 7 for 10 on free throws and 12 for 18 at the field goal range. Nikola Vukovic, he was trying to keep up with Tatum. He had 32 points, which actually led the team, and 11 rebounds, all of them defensively. Josh Giddey, 9 assists, but it still isn't enough for this Bulls team. They finish 500 in the NBA Cup, which isn't enough to get them to the next round, unfortunately. When you look at those standings, the Bulls finish in 3rd, and that's, it's only the top 2 teams in the NBA Cup that the Bulls, they did better than last year. It's an improvement in this in-season tournament. It doesn't mean as much as the actual regular season and, the road to the actual NBA Finals itself. But the Bulls, they surpassed the Cleveland Cavaliers. Actually, Cleveland only played 3 of their round-robin games. I believe they will be playing their 4th and final one tonight. So the best they could do is tie the Bulls, but in head-to-head play, the Bulls still beat the Cavs. Sorry, actually, no. Their 2 wins came against Atlanta, who actually took home the top spot in this Group C, which is surprising. But the Boston Celtics finished in 2nd. Both teams were 3-1. Washington Wizards 0-3, so they have one more game to play. That means it's probably against the Cavs by process of elimination. But the Bulls will not be continuing on with the in-season tournament. Around the league, let's take a look. It's Orlando and New York that go 3-0 and take home the Group A. Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and Charlotte have all been eliminated there. The Milwaukee Bucks and Detroit Pistons are also both 3-0. Miami, Toronto, and Indiana eliminated. Indiana 0-3, and as they bring up the rear there. And then in the Western Conference, so we kind of already went over the Group C in the Eastern Conference with the Bulls, Cleveland, and Washington all not making it. Atlanta and Boston are in. In the Western Conference, there's still some discrepancy here. The Houston Rockets and Portland Trailblazers lead the way in Group A with a 3-0 record and a 2-1 record, respectively. The LA Clippers are 1-2, sitting in fourth. If they end up winning their final round robin game, they are 2-2. They will leapfrog the Minnesota Timberwolves. They would be playing the Portland Trailblazers. So that would mean the Trailblazers lose, and the Clippers would jump from fourth to second and make it into the quote-unquote postseason here in the NBA Cup. In Group B, it's still a race for those top two spots with San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and Phoenix all tied at 2-1. One of them will be playing the Utah Jazz, who have already been eliminated 0-3. The Lakers, the defending NBA Cup champs, eliminated as they go 2-2 in this tournament. And then Group C is the wackiest of them all. The Golden State Warriors have already clinched as they are 3-0 in this in-season tournament. But the Dallas Mavericks are 2-1. Denver is 1-2, along with Memphis. And the only team eliminated is the New Orleans Pelicans. They are 1-3. So still a lot up for grabs in that final Group C. Let's get back to Bulls basketball as it is. They had one more game that was last night against the Brooklyn Nets, and that was a win. So the Bulls get back in the W column. That was a 128-102 victory. The Bulls had help from Nikola Vukovic in the scoring department. That was 21 points. Josh Giddey, he picked up the usual Nikola Vukovic spot with 13 rebounds, 12 of those defensive, and 11 assists from Giddey. And it was enough for the Bulls to take the win at home. They are now 3-7 at home, so still not great, but 9-13 on the season as I recapped in that opening. The Nets also 9-13 now after this one. They are 5-8 on the road. When we look ahead for this Bulls team, it is going to be with some injury talk. The Bulls did receive Lonzo Ball back out on the court last week, which was good, but now it is Patrick Williams that has still been out with the foot, and as of yesterday, Kobe White listed day-to-day with an ankle injury. He was out against the Nets yesterday. We will see if he plays Thursday. Thursday is Bulls versus the San Antonio Spurs at 7 p.m. Friday, the Bulls will be back at home to face the Indiana Pacers at 7 p.m. And Sunday, that is a noon matinee game at home at the United Center against the Philadelphia 76ers. All of those games are on Chicago Sports Network. But hey, we're already talking about the next week. We got to talk about what is going on in sports news today.
Back to your home for sports. SportsTownChicago.com. Scoreboard update.
At 5:30 on Tuesday, December 3rd, I'm your host, Mike Napolitano, with your SportsTownChicago.com update powered by the Illinois Media School. If you're interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com. Another episode of Every Shift came out today for the Blackhawks. It is their YouTube web series giving you a little bit of behind-the-scenes information on how the Blackhawks season is going. It was also interesting that Connor Bedard was mic'd up. He was the star of this most recent episode. There's no surprise there, but in that game against the Red Wings, he was upset that Patrick Kane was tripped up on that play, and Bedard was called for the penalty. He called the call. Bears are holding a slew of press conferences this week. Some of them were yesterday as we look at their injuries today, leading into the next week against the 49ers. I think the biggest injury is in coaching However, just today, Elijah Hicks and Ryan Bates were listed as questionable. They are added to an injury list that still includes Jaquan Brisker, Roshan Johnson, Darnell Wright, Andrew Billings, Bill Murray, Stephen Carlson, Douglas Coleman III, Patrick Scales, Nasimba Webster, and of course Ian Wheeler was out for the entire season with that torn ACL. So it's been rough for this Chicago Bears team, but that has been your SportsTownChicago.com update brought to you by the Illinois Media School. If you are interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com. What's up, everyone? This is
This is your home for sports.
Red left!
SportsTownChicago.com.
Take that exit and get to the Southern Cafe, home of the Nasty Biscuit on Roselle Road in Roselle. Get over there and try the chicken fried chicken biscuit made with the Southern Cafe's house-made drop biscuit with buttermilk chicken fried chicken smothered in country gravy, topped with shredded cheddar and crumbled hickory smoked bacon. I always say that when you go to the Southern Cafe, you come out with 2 meals with the heaping amounts of food they serve you in every meal. I love to go to a place with outdoor seating. The Southern Cafe has a great outdoor seating area to help social distance, and I get to enjoy my breakfast outdoors. Open 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. to give you plenty of time to grab an amazing breakfast or lunch. Now get your butt over to the Southern Cafe on Roselle Road.
Hello?
It's speed walking day.
Dorothy? You're breaking up.
Did I mention we'd be slowing down when we pass the court where those fine brothers play ball?
I heard that. Reduce your risk of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Get active, eat right, and maybe even run into Mr. Right. Isn't sisterhood beautiful? For more information, go to everydaychoices.org. Brought to you by the American Cancer Society, the American Diabetes Association, the American Heart Association, the Ad Council, and this station.
Alert! Alert! Be gone, maxed out credit cards, overdue loans, suffocating interest rates, and relentless collection agencies. If your credit rating is making you and others around you cringe, there's only one thing to do, and that's to turn to the professionals at Creative Credit Solutions. Even if your credit is less than perfect, we'll help you get back on track. You can do it, and we can help. Call today or visit creativecreditsolutions.net for your free credit check report.
Blow the whistle on SportsTownChicago.com. Mondays and Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m. as we talk NFL.
The game plan was really sound.
It's a quarterback league. It has been. It still is.
Franchise-defining quarterbacks.
College football.
Will Jim Harbaugh make it through the season as Michigan's head coach?
Some more Big Ten talk.
And here's some things you wouldn't expect.
I would have never expected that.
Get all of that and more on Blow the Whistle on SportsTownChicago.com.
Testing. Is this thing on? Hello? Can you hear me? Guys? Somebody help. Hello?
Now back to Mike on the mic on SportsTownChicago.com and Twitch. Well, the Blackhawks got into the win column just before Thanksgiving Eve. Wednesday was back at the United Center on 7:30 to face Dallas. Now, Dallas has been pretty strong all season, but the Blackhawks, a 6-2 win. Sometimes you wish you could spread out those goals across a few games, but the nice thing was that a certain someone got back into the goal column. That was Connor Bedard, as he had gone 12 games without a goal. In that time, he had 6 points. That was 6 assists, but the monkey was definitely on the rookie's back in the goal column format, but he gets on the board in this one, and it was a very Connor Bedard-esque goal with a beautiful snipe that found the corner of the net, where the post meets the crossbar, and rattled around in there for quite the snipe. Have a listen to the broadcast from WGN on Connor Bedard's goal, drought-breaking goal.
Puck to the slot. Here's Bedard again with a shot. Scores! Connor Bedard! Monkey off the back, and the Hawks up 3-0.
Wicked shot. The thing that I like is he gets into the dot. Look at that. He closes his angle towards the net. What a shot. Casey been snipped down. He thinks he's got that top corner covered. Bedard with his head up. You see the whip in his stick.
So Connor Bedard ending his goal drought, but it wasn't just Bedard that stole the spotlight that night. Taylor Hall added a hat trick. At one point, the Blackhawks were up 4-0 against this Dallas team, and those two were a big part of it. Taylor Hall, this is his first hat trick since 2013. He didn't even have a hat trick in his MVP Hart Trophy season back in 2018. And the last Blackhawks hat trick was actually on March 10th of this year. Of course, dating back to last season. That was against Arizona. And it was none other than Colin Blackwell. Of course, Colin Blackwell having a hat trick. That's a regular occurrence. Colin Blackwell was actually playing for the Stars in this game. So a little bit of a weird coincidence, full circle moment. He scored in this game for Dallas as well, but it wasn't enough as the Blackhawks get the 2 points at home and have a 6-2 win. Then the Blackhawks would go on the road after the Thanksgiving holiday. Typically, the Thanksgiving holiday is a point in the NHL season where if you are in the playoffs, percentages and analytics say that you are going to be a playoff team. Of course, there's a few exceptions, and if you're sitting in a wild card spot, of course, the heat is on because you could lose that spot. There's still a lot of games left to be played. If you are really outside looking in, chances are you are not a playoff team. Well, the Blackhawks were dead last. Actually, I think they moved up above Nashville at this point in time. Now they are back to dead last. But the Blackhawks, after the Thanksgiving holiday, they're probably going to be south. 2 years ago, it was a complete tank to get Connor Bedard. They do that. Last year was year one of the rebuild. This is kind of year two. You can't really count whatever the last regime, bunch of veterans, but it's a lot of these veterans that are not doing what they're supposed to. They're kind of taking a back seat. If it's not Connor Bedard, or I guess Taylor Hall scoring, there's not a whole lot of goal power in this Blackhawks team. Well, on Friday, it was a matinee game on Black Friday. The Blackhawks took a 2-0 lead against the Minnesota Wild, but they fall 3-2. Another blown lead for this Blackhawks team. They were up 2-0 as of the second period and give up 3 in that second period. Both of those goals came from Ryan Donato. He leads the team in goals with 10 after his second in this game, which was also on the power play. An assist from Connor Bedard, that's his 13th on the season. Alex Vlasic had the primary, that's his 9th. But Marco Rossi, assisted by Johansson and Kaprizov. Jared Spurgeon, assisted by Boldy and Eriksson Ek. And Jared Spurgeon, again, assisted by Eriksson Ek. And this time, Marcus Foligno, brother of Blackhawks captain Nick Foligno. That seals the deal for the Wild. No goals scored by either team in the third frame. And the Wild take 2 points at home on Black Friday. And the Blackhawks blow a 2-0 lead. So Sunday, the Blackhawks would come back home to face the Columbus Blue Jackets, a Blue Jackets team that I think has surprised a couple people this year. They aren't exactly in the gutters as normal. They're 11-9-3. Well, of course, after this game against the Blackhawks, 6-2 on the road as they win this game 6-3. Columbus took a 2-1 lead after 1, a 3-2 lead after 2, and erupted for 3 goals in that third frame to make it a 6-3 game. Connor Bedard gets another goal in this one. It's a power play goal to open the scoring, assisted by Donato and Vlasic. Those same couple of names popping up as they are the only ones doing a lot for this team. Provorov and Johnson take the lead for the Blue Jackets. Craig Smith scores with help from Taylor Hall and Alec Martinez. Sean Monahan, though, with help from Corrali and Werenski, give the lead back to the Blue Jackets. Did I say take the lead for the Blackhawks? I meant tie this game. Dante Fabro, he scores in the third to give a little bit of padding to this Columbus team. The captain scores on the power play, assisted by Tara Vinen and Connor Bedard. That is a good better to Voronikov, but it's Marchenko that added the lead even for this Blue Jackets team. And then the Blackhawks were looking at a game as they turned around a back-to-back in Toronto. Listen to Peter Mrazek's diving splits save in which he flashed the leather on the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Cross, return pass to Johnson, and a big save by Mrazek as he spills across to grab that with the glove.
They're delayed, boys, and now they're finally on their feet. Holy jumping, what a save this is. It doesn't, boys, and now they're...
So Voronikov and Vlasic were kind of battling it out in the crease. You heard from Darren Pang there on the CHSN broadcast, but what a phenomenal save by Mrazek. He has really stood on his head for this Blackhawks team. But, you know, with Arvid Soderblom's 2 wins last year coming against his former team in the Maple Leafs, and the fact that this was a back-to-back situation, he gets the start for the Blackhawks, and unfortunately, they fall 4-1. Matthews scores, Austin Matthews in the first. John Tavares scores in the second. Lucas Reichel tallies for the Blackhawks, scoring their only goal, assisted by Pat Maroon and TJ Brody, but it's not enough as Fraser Minton, he gets on the board to extend Toronto's lead in the third, and Matthew Nyes puts things away with the empty netter. The Blackhawks are now 8-15-2, 8th in the Central Division, and it is not looking good for them. Last Wednesday on Thanksgiving Eve, I almost said New Year's Eve. We're not even at Christmas yet. Blackhawks traded forward prospect Ryder Rolston to Nashville for future considerations. Not sure if I like that move. Rolston could have been a future forward for this Blackhawks team with his speed, but he gets a chance to go and possibly play for Nashville's pro team, if not at least get some more minutes in Milwaukee with the Admirals. And for future considerations, you're trading with a team that is just above you in the standings, so there's not really a whole lot to want from Nashville at the moment. We'll see how that trade plays out for the Blackhawks in the far future. Speaking of future, tomorrow the Blackhawks will be at home against the Boston Bruins, who have also struggled this year. They just fired their coach, Jim Montgomery, last week, so it has been just as worrisome in Boston as it has been in Chicago. I wonder if there is a coaching move that will be happening for this Blackhawks team in the near future. We don't know. This game will be at 6:30 on TNT and Max. And then Saturday, the Blackhawks will continue this homestand versus the Winnipeg Jets. That will be at 3 p.m. on ESPN+. And then next Monday, Blackhawks go on the road to face the New York Rangers at 6 p.m. That'll be on NHL Network. Hey, I've got some baseball news for you. And if you weren't fed up enough about Chicago sports, let's take a look at what the Dodgers are doing in free agency. It grinds my teeth. We also got some highlights from the MLS to cover and their championship that will be happening this coming weekend. So stay right here with us on Mike on the Mic.
your home for sports.
Longtime fan. Sports is like life.
SportsTownChicago.com.
What's up, Chicago? If you're ever, and I mean ever, out looking for good urban food 24/7, come down to White Palace Grill, located 1159 South Canal Street in Chicago. White Palace Grill is open 365 days a year since 1939. I personally love the steak and egg dinner, but whether you like burgers for breakfast, steak for lunch, or French toast for dinner, White Palace is the place for you. The diner is a 24-hour urban oasis. Come now, come later. Hey, come now and later. We never close at White Palace Grill, located 1159 South Canal Street in Chicago. Visit us at whitepalace.com or order with Uber Eats or Grubhub anytime, any day.
Daddy, when you look at me, a major league first baseman, maybe a point guard for a national champion.
The odds of a child becoming a professional athlete are 1 in 16,000. Far-fetched? Maybe. But did you know the odds of a child being diagnosed with autism are 1 in 166? That's right, 1 in 166. To learn the signs of autism, go to autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Go to Lux Barbershop for the best barbers and stylists in Plainfield, Illinois. I go there when I have an important event, date, or I just want to look good. The straight razor shave will have you looking fresh and smooth. Lux Barbershop is open 7 days a week. Go to Lux Barbershop for the finest barbers, stylists, braiders, and massage therapists in the southern suburbs. Check out all their daily deals on Facebook, Instagram, and luxbarbershop.com.
Hi, this is Joe Perry and Steven Tyler of Aerosmith for Red. You know, it's okay to rock and roll and party down. Just don't get in that 2,000-pound bullet when you're done and cocked. And please don't drink and drive. I'm the one that jaded you.
A reminder that friends don't let friends drive drunk. A public service message brought to you by the Ad Council, U.S. Department of Transportation, National Association of Broadcasters, and RAD.
The Chicago Dogs are back on SportsTownChicago.com. Tune into the season opener against the Sioux City Explorers, Friday, May 28th at Impact Field in Rosemont. First pitch at 7:05 p.m. Hear all the action right here on SportsTownChicago.com.
Well, I am upset with the MLB for allowing the Dodgers to do practically everything that they have done within the last 2 years. We got to start this off with the Dodgers signing Blake Snell to a 5-year, $182 million deal. The pitcher was previously with the San Diego Padres and then went to free agency. Tommy Edman got a 5-year extension as well with the Dodgers after he had a phenomenal postseason performance for them en route to their World Series championship. But the Dodgers have $1 billion with a B, $1 billion in deferred payments through all of these deferred contracts. Those are deferred from 2028 to 2046. I mean, this is just ridiculous at this point. I mean, you're telling me that they're going to be paying guys well past their playing careers, possibly even, and this is allowed? I mean, every team should be doing this. Of course, it won't be the Cubs or the White Sox because they don't spend money. But, I mean, this is just $66 million in deferred money for Blake Snell's contract. It's payable to the pitcher through July 1st, 2046, according to the Associated Press. Tommy Edman's $74 million 5-year deal has $25 million payable to the utility player through 2024, July 1st of 2024. The exact number Los Angeles now owes in deferred payments, $1,006,500,000 to 7 players. Shohei Ohtani is one of those names. Now Tommy Edman and Blake Snell. Mookie Betts is owed $115 million from 2023 to 2033 to 2030. We were talking decades in the future. $5 million of his signing bonus is at this point. Freddie Freeman is owed $57 million from 2028 to 2040 in a $162 million 6-year contract through 2027. We're talking another 15 years or so after these players are at least out of their contracts with the Dodgers, whether or not they re-up, we will see in the future. But some of them might be retiring by the end of this, and they're still going to be on the books. Catcher Will Smith is due $50 million payable from 2034 to 2043 as part of a $140 million 10-year contract through 2033. That one's not as bad, but he's still getting money after the fact. Outfielder Teoscar Hernandez, $8.5 million from 2030 to 20 as part of a $23.5 million 1-year deal for 2024. We're talking millions of dollars from 2030 to 2039 just for a 1-year deal in 2024. I mean, and of course, the Shohei contract, which we broke down last offseason because it was the news of baseball free agency, $680 million deferred for two-way star Shohei Ohtani from 2034 to 2043 as a part of a record $700 million 10-year contract through 2033. I mean, it's basically a 10-year we still have 9 years to go. He only was a DH this year, but won the MVP as a DH, created the 50-50 club, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases in a season. So I'm not saying that this money isn't well earned by Shohei Ohtani. I'm just saying he's only getting $20 million of it up front. The other $680 million are going to be paid out to him probably past his career. He's set for life. There's no doubt there. But oh my goodness, is either the Dodgers are looking at 10 World Series wins in the next 10 years, or if they fall short even half of that time, another 15 years of purgatory. They won't be able to sign anybody else because they've got all this deferred money. It's still got to get paid out to these players, but I mean, they're pushing their problems to the far future. We'll worry about it later. We'll do our homework at 11:59 p.m. the night before it's due. How is this allowed? And if it is going to be allowed by the MLB, then every team needs to take them up on this crazy chaos. I know I've used that word quite a bit, but it's not as bad as the Bears, but this is a really poorly run money situation with the MLB. It needs to get fixed before there's going to be problems. I guarantee you in the future, there's going to be guys that, maybe the contracts get deferred in a way where then a guy gets injured and he can't play. And I can just see way too many things going on wrong with this. The arbitration is going to be insane in a number of years if this becomes the status quo. The Mets also made a huge signing. They lock in right-handed pitcher Frankie Montas to a 2-year, $34 million contract. Let's take a look at the MLS real quick. Last weekend, we saw the LA Galaxy defeat the Seattle Sounders 1-0, and they will be in the finals as the 2 seed. From the eastern side of things, Orlando, the 4th seed, gets upset by the 7th seed New York Red Bulls 1-0 as well. Both some really close games, which I think means we are going to have a really close final between the 2 seed LA Galaxy and the 7th seed Red Bulls of New York. That'll be on Apple TV, Fox, and Fox Deportes on December 7th. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. So that is for all the marbles. That is the MLS Cup. These two teams have met 3 times, just 3 times, dating all the way back till 2018. That was a 3-2 win for LA on April 25th of 2021. LA was defeated 3-2 by the Red Bulls back on May 4th. May the 4th be with you, of 2019. And then on April 28th in 2018, that was a 3-2 win for the Red Bulls as well. Not the best stats for soccer because this is a completely new team on both sides. Both teams have won their last 4, lost their 5th most recent game. So they are 4-1 in their last 4 in these playoffs. LA has 21 wins all time against the Red Bulls. Red Bulls also have 21 wins. Each team has 9 draws against each other. So this is destined to be a battle to the finish. Wonder if it comes down to penalties, but nonetheless, it will be exciting. So go ahead and check that one out Saturday at 3 p.m. All right, the November episode of the Voodoo Podcast is out now. It was released about a week ago and includes Jim Warfield, award-winning actress Tila Halpin-Moss, a.k.a. Buna Viduva of the award-winning Hell's Gate Haunted House, as well as Mark Krasminski and Jesse Schultz of Voodoo Ambassador. The December episode is coming out because December and Christmas haunts are opening up here shortly, and we want to get that out before the holidays. You can find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. WRMN on Saturday mornings on the rise with The Derek and myself. We cover Ice Hogs, Blackhawks, Wolves, Steel, Windy City Bulls, regular Chicago Bulls, and fantasy football. In the summers, we'll be covering Boomers, Cougars, and AU softball. So tune in on Saturday mornings on AM 1410 or their YouTube channel. Stream Sports Midwest is where I broadcast Nihil Hockey with the voice of the Chicago Dogs, Aaron Schellen, Eric Willowite, and Ethan Wiles. You can find that on Stream Sports Midwest's YouTube channel. And the Divided Podcast is on Spotify. That's with Tilo, G-Lead, and the Derek. You can catch the Parlay on Spotify as well. That's Tilo's other podcast with former Bulls All-Star Kendall Gill. It's also on YouTube. Or you can follow me on social media, Mike Napolitano on X, Mike_Napolitano on Instagram, or Mike Napolitano5 on Snapchat. While you're on X and Instagram, follow SportsTownChicago.com and the Illinois Media School. But that is all of your sports news for the week. Be sure to tune in right back here on Tuesday at 5 p.m. for another episode. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm your host, Mike Napolitano, and this has been another edition of Mike on the Mic.
This is your home for sports.
This is the best fans in the world.
No better team. SportsTownChicago.com.
Are you ready for this? Valley View Automotive has all of the hottest SUVs you've been looking for. Enjoy a test drive and the opportunity to drive one of these powerful vehicles off the lot for half the price. Yes, half the price. Now's the time to get yourself to Valley View by car, on foot, or even by air to take advantage of this outrageous sale. You better get here quickly, because this promotion is only going on for 24 hours, and the automobiles are leaving the lot faster than you can say four-wheel drive. Valley View Automotive, a dealership you can depend on.
Hey, I'm Andy Griggs, asking you to help prevent domestic violence. Domestic violence isn't a woman's issue. It hurts all of us. Women are injured and killed every day by their husbands and boyfriends. So it's time for men to take action right now to teach boys that violence against women is wrong, to help prevent abuse before it starts. Call the Family Violence Prevention Fund at 1-800-END-ABUSE to get a free Take Action kit containing tips on what to say to boys. That's 1-800-END-ABUSE. Teach early.
Indeed is the #1 job search user with over 250 million monthly users. Indeed's priority is to help everyone in the job searching process to find a job by uploading 10 new job opportunities every 10 seconds worldwide. With Indeed, you have free access to job searches, resume uploads, and company researches. There are over 10,000 employees at Indeed that pursue to help people find the job they are looking for. They connect with millions of people to new opportunities. Go to Indeed.com and sign up for free and create a resume and let Indeed do the rest to help you on your job search.
Hey, I'm Jesus Mauricio. Be sure to tune in every Friday to listen to Zeus Off the Bat, a baseball talk show from 1 to 2 p.m., where I'll be discussing and updating you on all things about baseball. News, predictions, reactions, and more about the Cubs, Sox, and everything across the league. Happens every Friday at 1 p.m. right here on SportsTownChicago.com. Don't forget to follow and share our Twitter and Instagram with your friends at Zeus Off the Bat. Zeus Off the Bat.